So how to do a spin hook in 3 easy steps. 1, turn. 2, kick. 3, watch a real training video. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Hey, Brett Messmer here with Technical Taekwondo. Today's video we are going to be teaching how to do the spinning hook kick. This is a full tutorial from start to finish, plus different ways to train and drill this. So it is a fairly long video. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So on the spinning hook kick, I find it most useful to come to the handrail and go back to basics. So the first part of what I recommend doing is getting to the wall, or if you have a handrail like we do at the gym, then use that so you can take balance out of the equation. If you're practicing at home and you don't have a really good wall space, grab a solid chair. It's heavy enough and doesn't move where you can use it for balance. One of the things I want you to get correct before we even start doing this is our fighting stance. When you do a spinning motion, it's important that your feet are on the same line. Don't have your lead foot slightly off. Even 3 or 4 inches can mess you up, because when I pivot, I'm crossing my legs, and that's going to put me in a bad balance position. Or what you're going to see is when I pivot, I need to step across so that my feet are on the same line. Why not just start there? So that's kind of number 1, is check your stance to make sure you're linear in your footwork. From here, guard is already up. I'm going to turn, grab the handrail, put my weight on the heel, and just swing that other leg up. So turn and just warm up your legs. This is a dynamic stretch. Do as many as you need. Generally, I will start low, and then by the time I get to 7, 8, and higher, I'm hitting my maximum. So you want to build up to it. You don't want to go first one, go as high and strong as you can. So the first part of the actual spinning hook kick is transferring your weight and spinning on your toes. The last thing you want to do is spin on your heels. The most common mistake I see is people start on their toes and then they finish and they pivot on their heel. So they have this kind of motion where they're 1, 2. You want to spin on a single point, and the best option for that is your toes. Spinning on the heel is not a good option. It doesn't give you the control. So I want to turn. Again, if I'm grabbing the wall, I am fairly close to it because I don't want to be out away from it. That way I'm leaning up against the wall this way. My hip needs to be under my foot. So I'm fairly close to the wall. So when I turn, I transfer the weight, I'm directly over my foot. On this motion, all we want to do is pick up our leg, kind of like a backwards motion, and turn. Think about leading with your back or leading with your butt. Don't turn with your knee up front like a front kick, because a spinning hook kick is more of a back turning motion, not a front kick motion. So lead with your backside, stay on your toes, and go through. And doing it slow is going to be 10 times harder than doing it fast. So just lift that leg and spin on your toes. Okay? You lose balance, not a big deal. That's why the bar is there. The next thing that we want to practice, honestly, is doing a backside kick. Because a backspin hook is really a backside kick with a wrong rechamber. So if you understand backside kick, this is going to be a little bit easier. If not, it's not the end of the world. Backside kick is turn, lift that knee, and there's your kick. So all I want to do is spin in a circle. Okay? So if you understand backside kick, great. On the backspin hook, what I want to think about is bringing that knee around and continuing traveling. Okay? So all I'm going to do now is throw the backside kick, leave it out there, and don't even worry about the rechamber for now. If you were to translate the Korean or Japanese term of hook kick, it's actually referred to as a reverse roundhouse. If you understand the rechamber of a roundhouse, okay, that's the attack of the hook kick. I have several videos on the different hook kicks. You can go back and watch those. But when we do the hook kick, we want to press with our hip flexor muscles and the top of our thigh across. So it's not just the whipping of the leg around. When I actually do the hook kick, so this is the next part of the kick, even though we're not practicing the turning motion, you can either do this out of a skip, or I find it easier to do the rear leg, where I'm coming up, and I want to come up slightly to the side of the target, about a foot or so to the side of their ear. And then I want to press my hips through. Initially, I want to make a bigger motion and press that across to really strengthen these muscles through here. Okay. So again, I bring that side kick up, pressing that hip across, and then I practice the roundhouse rechamber. So press those hips across. When you're executing this kick, a lot of people miss that because it is done so quickly. You don't actually see that the leg is straight for that 6 or 8 inches through the target. Because when you throw a hook kick, you can't see that the leg is straight. So many people miss that part of it, and you're missing that power aspect of it, of that hip press. Think about when you pedal a bicycle, that downstroke, your leg is locked out straight, and then it comes back up. Okay? So that pedaling motion, your power stroke of that pedal is the same exact power motion of the hook kick. So if I'm doing a rear leg hook, I pedal across your face and then I hook it. If I'm doing a spinning hook kick, I turn backwards, pedal across your face, and then I hook it. Spend some time working that out on the wall or handrail and get that hip, leg is straight, and press through the target. We actually have a kick in our curriculum that is called a pedal kick, and coming off the back leg, it is basically a hook kick, or if it's a skip pedal kick, it's basically that without the hook. We call it the face eraser. And generally that is a training tool to teach you to use those hip flexor muscles and press that across. Once you have a decent rear leg hook, obviously you can train the skip hook. Train your skip pedal kick, train your rear leg pedal kick with those, more as a leg strengthening exercise than anything else. To break this down into pieces, turn, transfer the weight, make sure your lead heel is pointing in the direction you want to go. If you under rotate, you're going to kick wherever your heel is pointed. So if you want to kick straight, pivot that heel straight line. Transfer the weight, driving your knee up to your shoulder, whipping it through, and then coming back around and landing with balance. As far as using your arms and adding power to it, watch figure skaters. When they're spinning slowly, their arms are out, and when they accelerate their spins, they bring their arms in. We can copy that motion. It's centripetal force? I think that's what it is. Whatever it is. But I want to have my arms out, and when I make my turn, pull the hands in. That's going to accelerate my motion. Again, hands are out, pulling them in. There we go. So the next thing we want to talk about when you're doing the spin hooks, you want to train the ability to hit with the bottom of your foot as well as your heel. Two different reasons. If you are in the sport and you don't really want to hurt somebody, you need to learn how to soften the blow a little bit, and using the bottom of your foot or just hitting somebody with your big toe is enough to score your points without causing damage. Spin hook kicks are one of the most, if not the most powerful head kick that's out there. Just be cautious when you're training these that you train the ability to also stop it. We are going to practice the art of stopping our hook kick. And the way you stop a spinning hook kick is by throwing a roundhouse kick right before impact. So if I'm doing my spinning hook kick, one thing I like to do is practice just touching the bag with the bottom ball of my foot, or even just the big toe. Okay? And then the next phase of that is once I get that distance correct, then I want to move in a little bit where my whole foot's going to hit it. and I want to practice the art of stopping my foot. So still throwing at full speed and putting the brakes on. Okay. You do this right, you're not going to be able to do it with a whole lot of balance because you're trying to save someone's life. Okay? But literally all I'm doing when I'm throwing this kick is I whip it around and then I throw that roundhouse kick before impact. So first you got to learn the control of the kick as far as getting your depth perception right and getting your distance and timing as far as where you want to put your foot. And then you want to start working on not hitting something because you want to have that control. So I'm coming around and I throw that roundhouse kick right at the last second. It's not pretty, but if you need to stop a kick in an emergency situation because you don't want to hurt somebody, then you need to have this as an option. The second way of throwing a backspin hook kick is with the heel. Similar to our axe kick video when we're talking about training and developing your heel, you want to thump your heel on the mat, okay, or get a book and thump your heel, hitting different angles. I'm dropping the heel, developing the back of the heel. That way when I go to break boards, I can hit the board more than once without hurting myself. So you want to develop the heel, and then after you understand how to do that, as you're developing the heel, you also want to practice pulling your foot in so that when I come through, I am hitting the bag with the heel. So practice not slapping. That way you have a choice. I wouldn't say I would do this in a self-defense situation because it's too big of a kick, it's too easy to intercept, it's too easy to get in trouble with it. But for board breaking, you do want to practice this. So coming in with that heel, and again, pressing those hip flexors through. The difference is when you're actually hitting a bag, you're not going to be whipping your leg through. So that's the difference between practicing touching and learning how to land behind, and then getting to an actual target, even though this bag is only about 40 pounds, that it's going to stop your rotation. Yeah, the last thing I'll go into detail on the back hook. So not spinning. So when I do the back hook, I throw the hook kick and I land forward basically in a cat stance. This transfers our weight, I can fire up with a second kick. You get good at this, this is going to set up different options in your sparring routine because most people are used to seeing a spin kick, they get out of the way, and then they counterattack. Where if you land in front, that completely changes the distance that they expect. So it's going to set up different options for you because you're going to be closer than most people are when they throw a spin kick. So I am going to throw it the exact same way. It's the difference between throwing a backside kick, landing in front, and throwing a backside kick and landing behind. The difference is there's a lot more torque on the spinning hook. So when I throw it, again, same thing. I'm going to turn, transfer the weight, drive that heel up, okay? But because my weight stays over my leg, I tuck it in right at that last second. And again, having that ability to stop the spinning hook kick is almost a requirement to do the back hook kick. So being able to put the brakes on and having that leg control is important to do the back hook. So, okay, see if I can slow that down a little bit. There we go. One more time. So turn, transfer the weight, and then come in and around. And again, that's going to set you up for whatever attacks that follow. So that's pretty much what I have for you guys today. Thank you for watching. If you like what we're doing, please hit that like and subscribe button. And until next time, God bless and keep on kicking.